Here is Pro Evolution Soccer's attempt at guessing the results of the 2018 World Cup then. Little known fact, Konami ran a competition for fans in the late 90s to rename the series from its original title of International Superstar Soccer. The competition just happened to be won by famous atheist and God-botherer Richard Dawkins, who promptly used this opportunity to have a right old dig at the Vatican with the title he chose. Richard Dawkins was always a huge fan of the series at the time, often putting Brazil left-back Roberto Larcos up front with Ronnerid because he was super quick and could score goals super easy. Good charge!
You sit on a throne of lies.
Contrary to my assertion in the intro, Richard Dawkins had very little to do with ISS changing its name to Pro Evolution Soccer, mainly as, although they're both soccer series distributed by Konami, they're actually completely different. Konami Osaka was the team behind ISS, and Konami Tokyo was the team behind Pro Evo, and still is. The last ISS title actually came out as far as 2003. Pro Evolution's first iteration came out on the PlayStation in 1995 in Japan under the name of Winning 11, which eventually would come out in the West under the rather dramatic moniker of Gold Storm. What a kick-ass name. Pro Evo is famous for not having many licenses, so instead of having a match between Middlesbrough and Burnley, you'd actually play a game between Teesside and Lancashire Claret. It also has less than stellar commentary, which, although much improved from its PS2 heyday, is still vastly inferior to its FIFA opponent.
Oh, he's charged the goalkeeper. Oh, that's torn it. Hey, do you agree with that call, Trevor? Huh? Oh? Oh! Ah! Yes! Great! Go for it! Go on! Oh, well done! Hey?
There's not much between them from a quality point of view these days really, though they do play very differently. Back in the PlayStation 1 and 2 era, sales between FIFA and Konami's titles were a bit closer, but FIFA would usually still outsell its rival by at least 2-1. Back then, it almost certainly didn't deserve to, licenses or no. Nowadays, FIFA outsells its rival annually by almost 40-1. Some of that is obviously because Konami just release the old game these days if they feel like it, with little effort or fanfare. The lazy bastards. Pro Evolution Soccer is still arguably the better game of football, but FIFA has narrowed the gap so much that maybe Pro Evo is a little bit redundant now. With Konami's laissez-faire attitude these days, maybe its days are numbered. This would make me very sad indeed. It is a fantastic series with a fantastic lineage. Remember the rules are thus. I will create a tournament that mirrors the World Cup, select England as the players' team in coach mode, pick the first XI to the closest I think Gareth Southgate will choose, and then allow the game to just play itself. No other input from myself will occur. We will see every game England play. From this, we will get what each game predicts will be the eventual champion, the top goal scorer, and what point England board the plane home for a good slaughtering from the tabloids and those people on Facebook who seem to love using the caps lock key. I'm using Pro Evo 2017 here because I'm a cheap-ass scumbag who already had a copy of this lying about. Patches exist for Pro Evo from helpful sorts at websites such as PES Fans, but I've chosen to do a lot of it myself using the BBC Sport website, along with a couple of World Cup guide magazines put together by the very knowledgeable writers of World Soccer magazine. Doing this for around 4 hours is a wonderful way to give yourself an existential crisis about what you're doing with your life, but still I did it.
Oh my god!
I had uploaded a patch for this a while ago, shortly after its release in late 2016. While I was pretty thorough with the major teams, a couple of weird anomalies that existed in the previous edited patch crop up here. Richard Bacon, for example, He appears for Poland, which isn't bad for a guy in his 40s who hasn't been on TV since The Big Breakfast was a thing, and got done in his 20s as Blue Peter host for doing loads of cocaine. Right, anyway, let's stick our face in the heaving, sponsor-covered corporate bosom of the FIFA World Cup and motorboat our way to prediction happiness. The groups are pretty predictable. Uruguay and host Russia progress from Group A. The Iberian Peninsula duo of Spain and Portugal break Moroccan and Iranian hearts in Group B. C is dominated by the exciting French side, with Denmark squeaking by Australia by the narrowest of margins. In Group D, Lionel Messi and his compatriots cruise into the next round with Croatia. Nigeria and good old Iceland go home. In Group E, Brazil of course go through, with Costa Rica surprisingly costing the European teams their place in the next round. In Group F, the Germans don't break a sweat as they go through with the Mexicans. And in Group H, Colombia progress as Group H winners, with Poland skulking behind like a weaselly sidekick with asthma. And in England's group, look, it's Gary Cahill.
So quite a contest we have in store. Just listen to the noise level from the stands. A moment for pride and reflection as players and supporters stand for the national anthems.
England begin their World Cup journey in a similar manner to their Sensi counterparts, by absolutely tonking the normally defensively robust Tunisians. Kane runs onto a defence-splitting pass from Jesse Lingard in the 10th minute and pile drives England into an early lead. Lingard is the provider again 10 minutes later, this time for the press-maligned Raheem Sterling.
He's away. The world at his feet. Raheem Sterling.
At the 35th minute mark, Kane scores an early contender for goal of the tournament with this. In the second half, not much happens beyond an injury to Eric Dyer and a hat-trick completing tap-in for Harry Kane.
And he's whipped it in low. Kane with a shot. No mistake. And that is it. The referee has seen enough. England start as they wanted to start.
England continue their football dick swinging against poor old Panama, as Lingard scores a solo effort half an hour in. This is followed up by Sterling just 7 minutes later. And then Captain Kane gets his piece straight from the restart. The clearly befuddled Panama defence let in their fourth goal in 13 minutes when Lingard bags his second. England ease up for the rest of the half before Dele Alli nets his side's fifth at minute 57. Finally, Jordan Henderson gets his head working on the 69th minute and scores England's last. This is where we call BS on England scoring this many goals in a tournament. Finally, some normality is restored as England and Belgium play out a rather dull 0-0 that sees both of them go through. England will play Poland in the next round. Harry Kane leads the goal scorer charts ahead of Cristiano Ronaldo, Dries Martins and Richard Bacon. And now the real business begins. Portugal thrash Uruguay 3-0, France oust Croatia 2-0, Brazil surprisingly are beaten by Mexico in the tournament's first big shock. Hosts Russia will be bystanders after being beaten by the classy Spanish. Argentina do for Denmark. Germany dispatched the Costa Ricans, and Colombia edged the always fancied Belgians. And so, what about England? Look, it's Gary Cahill.
Of expectation, fevered, frenetic. This is the one fixture they all wanted to see, and every day has only fanned the...
England face the Poles knowing that a quarter-final against Mexico awaits, who of course beat Brazil. It takes until the 57th minute for Sterling to make the breakthrough. Poland remain competitive throughout, but a quick break from the England counter-attack sees them take the lead through Harry Kane. It's the decisive second. England are going through. The quarters see more big guns stumble. European champions Portugal look on course for an unlikely double after dispatching France 1-0. Spain end Lionel Messi's hopes of ever being a world champion after a 4-2 thriller, and Colombia surprise current holders Germany 2-0. Wow! Now, let's look at England! Look, it's Gary Cahill. What a game! England look destined for the quarter-final dung heap once more after the electric Mexicans stick 2 past Pickford in the opening minutes. The first goals England have conceded so far in the tournament. What a shambles! England bookend the half though with the reverse of the opening minutes. First Lingard, then Dele Alli get us on par for the half-time interval. Phew! Nearing midway through the second half, though, Mexico score again. 3-2. Ay, ay, ay. However, Kane then nets at the other end just minutes later. It's 3-3 and we're headed for extra time. Extra time begins and substitute Jamie Vardy wastes no time in entering the fray, putting England in front for the first time in the 94th minute. Of course, Mexico equalise because it's the cosmic rule that should England reach a quarter-final they must be beaten via penalties. But not so. The love child of Agent Coulson and Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin costume, Jamie Vardy himself brings the goal tsunami to an end with England's 5th in a 9-goal thriller. Wowee! Surely nothing can stop this determined goals for fun England from winning the tournament. The semi-finals, how exciting! Spain go into another final after beating the Colombians 2-0. And now, England versus Portugal. It's surely England's date with destiny. Look, it's Gary Cahill. Nope. 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 Ronaldo and Silva score against them in the first half, and unlike the Mexico game, there's no fight back. They huff and they puff, and their dreams end here. What a showing though. I'd be pleased with that semi-final. Come on, that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? Still, one formality to go through, the third place playoff against the Colombians. Here then is the cruelty of the third place playoff, the world footballer equivalent of making a kid take his pet dog for a walk a week after it's died. However, this doesn't appear to dampen England's enthusiasm for goals. Jamie Vardy scores a hat-trick because video games think he's super ace apparently, in a game played by England's reserves. It finishes 3-2, so at least everyone had some fun. Spain win the final, meaning 33-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo is likely never to add to his European trophy with the World Cup. He does take the Golden Boot though, ahead of Messi and our very own Harry Kane. Esteemed company indeed there, Mr. Harry Kane. So, Pro Evolution Soccer then, with its thirst for goals, England scoring 20 in 7 games, that will never happen, predicts a win for Spain. Quite a contrast to Sensi, who had them home at the first stage. Ronaldo wins the Golden Boot, and England finished third. Next up, the real deal. FIFA 18, beloved by the masses. Surely it'll win?